Hey, what's up, everybody? I know it's been a while since my last discussion. I've been getting a lot of different requests from people uh, wanting to have a discussion with me over chemistry or biology or my views on intelligent design. Joe Sunseed, we were actually supposed to have a discussion about a week ago, I believe, but things have come up, um, and we finally have him here. So I'm going to give him the floor. Uh, Let him express any disagreements that he may have with intelligent design or anything that I have said in the past in my discussions. The floor is yours, Joe.
All right, I guess I don't have too much to say to start out with. Probably just establishing a few things. I Yeah, I've always kind of had an issue with intelligent design ever since I heard of it. But my views on why I have issues with intelligent design have kind of moved the more I became interested in, I guess, the philosophy of science, if you will. And I I think that intelligent design is not only supported by the, the data or the empirical evidence. I think it's not really a great explanation. It's not a great scientific model, if you will. It doesn't meet those requirements of a scientific model. And I can elaborate on that more, obviously. But I think that there are several different ways you can kind of tackle intelligent design and show the vacuousness of it that really haven't been brought up to the big intelligent design proponents here on YouTube or in G plus. And so I've been meaning to talk to you about different arguments, and I'm glad we finally been able to talk. Um, yeah, I guess I just have a few questions. I'm not sure. Does intelligent design to you? Well, there's some background information I think needs to kind of be established. Do you accept other like mundane concepts that are established by science, like the age of the Earth?
Well, I'm not too big on the age of the Earth. My stance on the age of the Earth is I simply don't know.
Mm,
Um, I mean, to me, I don't really care either way, but I do believe that the Earth is probably older than 6 to 8,000 years old.
okay.
Have we been around here hundreds of millions of years? I think that's pushing it too far.
Okay. Um, well, in a previous hangout, I heard you explain that you felt. Hold on, a bunch of people are actually asking for. Let me give out this link to some people. A lot of people want to see this. I don't know if it's going to be the rumble in the jungle they expect it to be, but okay. Now everyone could be quiet. Anyways, yeah. So what about homology? In a previous hangout, I heard you say that instead of homology pointing to common descent, you think it just points to a common designer. But you do affirm that there's like a clear, there's some sort of design or pattern amongst species that kind of, I guess, dwindles as you go further and further in terms of evolutionary relatedness, right?
Well, I disagree. I think that the issue with homology, you have to some at some point leave homologous structures and actually get to some sort of explanation in our time now to where we can have some sort of cause proving the effect, if you get what I'm saying. You have
Well,
to have a demonstration of causality before you can actually say that my claim, my reasoning is adequate with what we're trying to look at right here, if you get what I'm trying to say. So
mhm.
the claim would be that okay, these homologous structures, one possibly led from the other. So can that claim be met within our time so that we can say, okay, we have experiments or testing that can justify that claim that it can happen, that time can produce these homologous structures or anatomical structures.
I was just wondering about the observation of homology. You said that you think that it points more to a common design, not a common ancestor. So the observation of homologous, I can't say that word right now, but you know what I mean. Of those types of structures, it's self-evident, not self. It's pretty well documented homology. Whether or not you think it's due to something versus what I think it's due to, it's clear that there's evidence of there's a common either you would say designer, or it could lead to common descent, which is what I would say, right?
Well, you're saying, do I agree that there is homology involved?
Well, it's just if we can,
like similarities in
yes,
structures.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I would never disagree with that, but
that's all I was asking. Like I said, these aren't these aren't like loaded aha questions. I mean,
I understand that, but I'm just saying that, well, I wouldn't be surprised that you would find homology, similarities, because 99% or 98% of all the species are extinct. So if that many species are gone, you have so many different anatomies and structures and chemical reactions going on inside these different species that are going to be similar. It's inevitable. It's something that's going to happen.
Like I said, these are well, one more thing, and then I'll do you what about the fossil record? Do you like a general, this is very general, but a general pattern of the fossil record goes from simple organisms, simple structures, whatever, to more complex as we get into younger and younger rock layers or strata?
Do I say that there seems...
Is that observation accurate? Do you think that that's the case? Do you agree with that?
I would say that you do see that it appears to an extent that there are small changes, as in, let me be careful how I say this because it's going to come out sounding the wrong way. When you look at the fossil record, you can see a diversity of simplicity to complexity, from large species to complex species. Do I believe that the order and how you find those is accurate? No, but I would not disagree that you do find an order of complexity inside of the fossil record. I would also note this, that in the fossil record, you find the opposite of what you would expect in evolution. What do I mean by that? Well, Ken Miller said that what you would expect in the fossil record would be sudden emergences of species in the fossil record. That's not what you see with these different periods, with the Precambrian, the Devonian period. You see all these, the Mesozoic period, I believe, as well.
Well, there's a couple.
Hold on. I want to finish.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that we are careful to not interrupt. What I'm looking at when I'm seeing the fossil record is that you see sudden emergences of species. And I'd say that when you look at the earliest record, the Precambrian era, most of the major phyla are already there already. So here's what my analysis of the fossil record is. We don't know whether neither the creationists, neither the intelligent design supporter or advocate, or the evolutionists know. We can't really make sense of the fossil record.
Okay. Well, yeah, so it seems like you agree with the observations, though, and that's all I was wondering. And this is, we could go into the details. I wrote a note about what you said with respect to Ken Miller, but this is before I officially, it's called the simple argument against design. Before I get into it, I just want to, there's like an analogy I want to talk about. Say there's a card dealer, and this card dealer has two different decks of cards. One deck of cards only has blue cards, that's it. The other deck of cards is a mixed deck. It has blue and red cards. Now say without knowing which deck of cards he drew from, he draws a card and he gives it to you, and you see it's a blue card. Now, based on the fact that you drew a blue card, which deck of cards would you choose as being the one that the blue card actually came from?
I'm sorry, you were breaking up there a little bit towards the beginning.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, could you?
Okay, I can repeat it really quickly. You have two decks of cards. One of them is all blue cards in it. The other one is a mixture of blue and red. It's a mixed deck. Now, a dealer deals you a card without you seeing where he drew the card from, which deck. And you get the card's blue. Based on the fact that you drew a blue card, which deck of cards would you guess the blue card came from?
I'm not sure. I thought, because it feels like you're sort of leading someplace. So,
Well,
so
it's in order to establish a point. All of probability usually says that you would want to go the likelihood that the all blue deck of cards is the
the most likeliness. Yes, of course.
The likelihoodism is that it's the blue deck of cards, because if we make a hypothesis that this, given the fact that we drew a blue card, it came from the all blue deck, that hypothesis is preferable to the hypothesis if we drew a blue card, it came from the mixed deck. Because in the first hypothesis, the probability of drawing a blue card is equal to 1. Whereas in the second hypothesis, the probability of drawing a blue card is equal to 1/2, because we could also draw a red card, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it makes sense, but how are you trying to relate probability to evolution?
And so if we draw a blue card, it would be the case that the all blue deck of cards would be the preferable option, right? And say if we keep on drawing a bunch of blue cards, it would just make it more obvious that the dealer was drawing it from the blue deck. It's the fact that drawing a blue card is and from the blue deck is more likely is because of how constrained it is. Now, this is the key difference between natural selection and intelligent design. The thing about, like, when we look at mundane things about the world, natural selection necessitates our observations. And just like how the hypothesis that it came from the blue deck of cards necessitates that we drew a blue card. So, for example, the age of the Earth. Natural selection necessitates the Earth to be really old. It wouldn't, if the Earth was young, natural selection wouldn't have the time to work, right? And because of that, it's the more preferable hypothesis to intelligent design, which can work either with an old Earth or with a young Earth. It's either is compatible with intelligent design, but that compatibility doesn't necessarily mean, in fact, it makes things worse. Instead, you have options that are diluted under the intelligent design hypothesis. And so that's why natural selection is more preferable, because if the Earth wasn't young, then, if the Earth wasn't old, excuse me, then we couldn't have natural selection, right? And this is the same with homology. It could be the case that there is homology amongst natural selection necessitates that there is a homologous pattern amongst species that dwindles as you get to less and less related organisms. Whereas that could be the case on intelligent design. In fact, I think Behe and Meyer, they agree that there is some sort of like homologous structure, even to the point where I think one of them accepts common descent. But it could be the case on intelligent design, but it also doesn't have to be the case on intelligent design. It sounds like you weren't sure, but you feel confident in intelligent design. Because natural selection is more constrained, that's why it's a better model. And that's one of the reasons, this is one of the reasons why intelligent design is usually rejected. Because intelligent design always has you can have a whole bunch of options. It could be young Earth, it could be old Earth. And because of that, the probability of it being true is diluted. Does that make sense?
Well, I think you're a little bit off, though. I mean, it would be incompatible because you got Behe agreeing with certain aspects of evolution as well, but he doesn't agree that evolution has the creative power that's necessary to build some of the complex structures in the cell necessary
Sure.
for the established system of life. So the main core issue here is there another hypothesis or idea out there that has an equivalent known cause to produce the effects of that intelligence can produce, which those functions and structures are seen inside of the cell. So I think that's the main point here. The question is
another topic, though.
hold on,
If you don't mind.
no. Well, how is it going into a different topic? If we're going to be
Well,
talking about probabilities, about what is more than likely the case,
yeah.
if there is a case, right? This is supposed to basically throw intelligent design out. If intelligent design is claiming that its inference or abductive reasoning is showing that intelligence is the only place that has produced known causes and structures, then it would be more likely than the alternatives that have yet to prove that. So that
I'm
would
not
be the
really
main.
sure what you're, but it's I mean, we could go into the thing about that is that I forgot I should have asked you, what do you mean by intelligence? But the issue is that if all things taken equal, when we look at utterly mundane facts about the world, the fact that they are required, that those facts about the world are required to be the case for natural selection to be, to be true, for lack of a better term, makes natural selection a better hypothesis. I mean, ultimately, remember when I said that on natural selection, the probability of the Earth, that our observations would be that the Earth is old, are equal to 1. But on intelligent design, the probability at best would be equal to 1/2, because the other half would be younger creationism, right? And because of that, and it turns out that the Earth is old. There's plenty of evidence supporting the older. I mean, the geologic age of the Earth.
But you're using probabilities as in, well, if there's other explanations, it could be, any of these explanations. But we can't even say that it's.
I'm just comparing hypotheses, right?
Yeah, well, you're saying that it's equal to 1/2, comparing intelligent design to creationism, and that's not the way that.
No, I'm not comparing intelligent. These are options under intelligent design, because the option under intelligent design is the Earth is really old, or the Earth could be, young. I remember you weren't sure about the age of the Earth.
Well,
but for natural selection, the Earth has to be old, right?
Right. For natural selection, the Earth has to be old. But what is the most likely hypothesis? What has the evidence behind it supporting it? That is the most important question right here. So maybe you're going on it from a different angle, but that's what I find to be really, really important. What is the evidence best fit each hypothesis, not conjoining hypotheses to then say, okay, well, there's different ideas out there, so that's more likely to be this case or the other. I mean, I don't really know how that would work anyways.
Well, this kind of shows just an issue. This concept of simplicity it's a virtue of a good explanatory model. The whole thing is that, look, natural selection is going, if this isn't the case, then natural selection is false. Or this is a defeater. You can't rely on this type of evidence to demonstrate that natural selection is true. Whereas it seems like at best you're saying, I'm not really sure. It sounds like you're actually still agreeing with me that intelligent design can work this way or that way. And in general, one of the virtues of go ahead.
No, maybe I should lay out specifically what it is that I'm saying, and then
Sure.
I'll explain what I see the problem with what you're bringing in with natural selection. What I'm talking about would be an inference to the best explanation.
Yeah.
That would be a sort of abductive reasoning, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this would be basically on lines with the same type of reasoning that would go behind evolution, where you basically try to presume a fact by using other facts. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, by assuming other things, yeah.
Okay, so by looking at the facts that we have available, inferring, looking through the best explanation that we have available, I would be comparing, looking at, okay, what has intelligence produced? Because the claim is in intelligent design, specifically that certain patterns in nature seem to be best explained by intelligent causation because those patterns are consistently known and seen to come from intelligence. So based on that inference, that presuming of these facts is where the case would lie. Now, I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it on the side of, on the table with what you're saying natural selection can do, that these changes in allele frequencies over time or, through millions of years, you can see these homologous structures being formed, right?
I haven't really, I've so far I've just looking at like testing models and their, how many options they each have. The simplicity of something is something that has fewer options, all things being equal, is the simpler explanation. And I'm leading that into, simplicity is one of the virtues of a good explanatory model. And right off the bat, it seems like intelligent design isn't that simple.
Well, what are scientific models for, though, right? Testability, experimentation, and they basically help to predict the outcomes or to make sense of certain things in nature, right?
Yeah, and you could see that like natural selection, it's like, look, we should see evidence that the Earth is old. And, that's that's an expectation that needs to be filled. It's something that needs to be the case if natural selection were true. Whereas we're not really given anything with intelligent design. Intelligent design is like, well, the Earth might be old, it might not be old, but either way, it still works with intelligent design. You see what I mean? It's
here's the problem, though. Here's the problem with your ideas with evolution. The prediction may not. Hold on 1 second. The prediction of homologous structures, what you would expect to see with evolution, you cannot stick it with only evolution. It doesn't help the case of evolution because the predictions can be stretched out with what we would expect from creation as well. So, what am I saying right here?
But creation could work without homology, though.
Well, specifically what I'm trying to say is with homologous structures, that is something that we would expect in creation as well. You can take bikes, you can take wagons, you can take skateboards, and you can take cars, and you can find similarities in there, from wheels to certain structures, from motorcycles and so forth. We would expect that in creation, so that prediction can be applied all the way across the board. So when we're going to this issue of whether it was creation or it was evolution,
I thought we were talking about intelligent design. I'm trying to stick with just intelligent.
We're talking about both. We're talking about my case and we're talking about your case.
Are you comfortable with me saying creation instead of because I'm fine with just sticking with intelligent design.
Well, no, we're here to talk about both cases right now.
Okay, sure.
So what we're going to have to do is we're going to try to, we're sitting over here trying to see what's the best explanation for the beginning of the universe or the beginning of life. How was life created? When you have a prediction that can go either way, that doesn't help us to see what is therefore the best explanation, because the prediction can go either way in any direction. It doesn't help the case. So that's why what intelligent design is doing is hitting on that main core issue of a scientific model, causality, trying to demonstrate and show unknown cause and effect and pointing to that. So
wait a minute, you're kind of going into another topic. You said that if you have a prediction, if it can go either way, then that's not a good. I agreed with you on that, and that's the point of the argument I just ran. Is that intelligent design or creation can go either way. It could be the case that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there is an inferiority with evolution that there is with intelligent design. This is the reason why it is unlikely that evolution was the cause. This is the reason why I'm comparing what you're saying to what I'm saying, so that this is brought up, because this is very, very important.
Are you saying that the simplicity doesn't matter?
No, I'm pointing out the cause. I'm pointing out where does the evidence fit? that predictability and pointing out similarities doesn't help the case for evolution, because the same predictions can be pointed out with creation.
Yeah, but
But it,
okay, because I was talking about the age of the Earth, and you're focusing on homology. Okay, they both. That's the point. Given a single piece of evidence, we looked at the age of the Earth. Now we're talking about homology. Given that single piece of evidence, which is the preferable explanation of that single piece of evidence? The thing is that it's necessitated by evolution. Evolution, you have to have that kind of common descent pattern, that kind of homologous pattern amongst species, radiating, I guess, lesser and lesser with relatedness. But you don't have to have that pattern on.
but do you see how that
ID.
doesn't? I'm sorry.
You don't. Yeah, you see what I mean, though. I mean, you don't have to have that pattern on intelligent design. Intelligent design can work.
But don't you see that because that is all you have? That kind of that's not very convincing to people looking from the outside in.
What do you mean? That's all I have. I'm not
because
sure.
Because similarities or homologous structures, they're not going to prove anything anyways. And
That's not
similarities.
all I have, though. We were talking about the age of the Earth, right?
No. The title, like I explained before the hangout, the title of this hangout is about intelligent design and evolution and abiogenesis. That's what we're talking about. I already explained it. I don't really care.
In evolution, well, I didn't know it was also abiogenesis, but we can go into that. I also thought it was about which is a better explanation. But the point is that, look, evolution or natural selection evolution necessitates what these. Remember, I brought up 3 observations, and whether or not you agreed to what was the cause of those observations, you agreed that they were there, that we could make those observations. And all 3 of those observations are, if those weren't the case, evolution would, especially all 3 of them, and if many more weren't the case, evolution would be false. But you wouldn't, that's not the case with intelligent design. Intelligent design could be either way. It seems like, basically what I'm saying is that it seems like it can, all the options that are under intelligent design are diluted, so they have a lower likeliness. So intelligent design doesn't really have as much power as evolution, because evolution requires our observations to be true. Whereas that's not the case for intelligent design.
I disagree wholeheartedly. I disagree wholeheartedly with that. I think that intelligent design is dependent on naturalistic, or I wouldn't say that just naturalistic, but totally physical observations. That's where everything is being connected to, just totally physical observations. But the totally physical observation, let me point this out, because this is very, very important here. Okay. The totally physical observations that are being made with evolution are already dead species all the way across the board. We do not have details as to how those offsprings, the mutations or the changes happen with those offsprings. We just assume that we got 2 dead species. One of them looks more similar than the other. So based on their similarities, they're homologous, and it's declared that because of these homologous structures or build quality, that therefore, evolution, the presupposition is applied there. But the presupposition can be applied with the creation as well. That's what we would expect. We have the same predictability power that you would see, that designers would have different design qualities. You can produce skateboards, bicycles, and on. But that case alone. Hold on one second, because this is really, really important.
Okay, but
the same predictable power is with creation as well. Both of us can make the same prediction and would expect the same thing, but it's not going to make creation a valid or sound argument, because the similarities is not going to prove anything. What's going to prove something, or what's going to be making more sense, is that known cause. And because evolution does not have that known cause, it doesn't have a case.
I'm not really. You go to cause, and I guess we can move on to that in a second. I just want to make clear that the point is, would we have to reject intelligent design if such a pattern of homology was not seen, would we have to reject intelligent design if the Earth was actually young or if the Earth was actually old? I'm still not sure.
No, because
Would we have to reject it if the complexity, if it went from simplicity to simple to complex in the fossil record? Which one? I mean, any of those. Which one of those would be able to allow us to reject intelligent design?
Well, again, I got to make this clear. There's a couple of things because I think they keep getting missed. The argument isn't dependent on the age of the Earth. The argument is dependent on this. That's
I'm not saying that, though.
I understand that certain patterns in nature are best explained by intelligent causation. So it's a separate argument from the age of the Earth. And when you see simplicity inside of the fossil record, I'd say that there are presuppositions involved with certain evolutionists where they're looking at certain simplicities, but realistically, early at the earliest of the fossil records in these different periods throughout the fossil record, you see sudden emergences of species. At the earliest fossil record, all the major phyla are already there. So the complexity is already there. So I think, I don't know, maybe you may have missed this or something, but none of the argument of intelligent design isn't dependent on how old the Earth is. That's something that evolution would be dependent on.
I mean, that's what I've been saying for the past 10 minutes, that it's dependent on these things. If these things were not the case, it would be false. I've said that a few times.
Yeah, that evolution would be false if the Earth wasn't old.
Yeah. If it were young, the type of speciation required would not be the case on evolution, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If evolution, if there was no homology, the concept of common ancestor, common descent would not be that. That would go against that concept of common descent, right? And if the fossil record didn't show simplicity to complexity, that would also go against the concept of common descent and natural evolution by means of natural selection, or the other processes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But those are things. I mean, you can quibble about whether or not those observations are clear, but if those observations, for the sake of argument, if those observations are clear, then that does make it more likely that natural selection is the hypothesis we should go with. Whereas
no, it doesn't.
It doesn't matter if those are true, if those observations are evident on intelligent design, like you said, like you've been saying, intelligent design doesn't rest on any of them. Intelligent design rests on other things. But the thing is that those are mundane things that you and I can agree, that can be agreed upon as being expected.
Well,
and evolution coheres with them.
I wouldn't agree that, because even if the fossil record were totally clear and you can see just step by step by step, you can see simplicity to complexity following up in the fossil record, evolution still doesn't have its case met, because the claim is that through millions of years, these changes will lead to new anatomical features and functions, and that's how all the diversity of life has basically happened. Through time, species A becomes distinct from species B. That's the claim. That's the story. And having that story that you believe to begin with, hold on, because I know you want to rush and say something.
I'm listening.
But having that story and that claim to begin with, that you start off with, and having presuppositions to where you interpret the fossil record, according to those presuppositions, do not make those presuppositions therefore valid, or more than likely the case. I think how you begin to say that these that the fossil record is showing evolution as in common descent is when you say, okay, well, my predictive model is valid, it's correct. My experimentations prove that this anatomical feature or function can be developed if you give it time, proving, like a scientific model should be doing, a cause to be able to justify the claim of the effect. if you get what I'm trying to say. So this is the main core issue here that is lacking with evolution, but that intelligent design already has.
Well, no offense, but intelligent design, so far we've learned that either intelligent design is based off of like misunderstandings of the fossil record and homology and the age of the Earth, or it hasn't really contributed to either substantiating those observations. I mean, those observations are supposed to be utterly mundane. They're agreed upon by Behe and Dembski even, and Meyer as well.
No.
These aren't controversial at all. The age of the Earth, the what is it? Yeah, homology, and even common descent to a certain extent. But the issue is how I wrote down a note of what you were talking about that I had an issue with. Oh, I messed up. I can't find it. But the thing is that, I mean, yeah, it's.
Well, specifically, it's not until. I mean,
you said presuppositions. That's right. Go ahead, though. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to cut you off. If you're trying to get to a point, I'll mute.
Well, the thing about presupposition, I think it's just, I'm not sure what presuppositions I'm having. I guess I am presupposing that that's what the fossil record shows. I'm presupposing that, I'm really into coherentism. A lot of different independent fields in science usually cohere with one another on certain things about the world. There's a lot of independent lines of lines of inquiry that demonstrate that the Earth is young, that demonstrate the fossil record is simple to complex. I mean, that's a very general statement of the fossil record. I suppose I agree with that, but that's not really the point. The point is that these are mundane observations, and they make more sense with evolution than they do with what intelligent design. I mean, I asked you a few times, what would intelligent design, you said that intelligent design is making predictions, but it's just not making predictions in terms of homology, the age of the Earth, and the fossil record then.
I think that there's a problem here. I mean, because I don't want us to get away from this. The predictability within the reverse. With what you're talking about and the claim.
It does make a lot
evolution.
Okay.
I mean, so yeah, you can make predictions, but as I pointed out, the predictions are the same with creationism. It's not adequate enough for the claim being made.
Yeah, so, but creationism could have also, I mean, it's more likely on evolution, though. That's the point of the simple argument, is that it's necessitated that our predictions are correct.
But here's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing sort of a tu quo fallacy. Well, you too type of thing. We'll look at creationism too. Look at intelligent design. I disagree. Well, I'm saying I disagree with the problems that you're pointing out with intelligent design and with creationism. But even if there were problems with intelligent design and creationism, that doesn't therefore sort of shift the burden of proof. I mean, where would the proof be for evolution, for these new anatomical features and functions being developed? That's important here, because remember, intelligent design, it's not our burden of proof to prove evolution. It is to justify the claim of our abductive reasoning.
But you're shifting to a different topic that we can go into. I agree.
I'm right on the same topic.
Yeah, but you started talking about tu quo. I never said, yeah, but what I don't understand. When did I ever accuse you of also doing what I'm doing? I mean, if anything, I'm saying there's a distinct difference between us. Your explanation is just wishy-washy. It could be the case that the Earth is young, but it could also be the case that the Earth is old. Whereas evolution necessitates the age of the Earth. There's no tu quo. I don't see that.
There's no tu quo, but right, what we're talking about right here, I mean, even jumping back to what you said, I mean, it's like you're on a different topic. Intelligent design isn't concerned with the age of the Earth. Intelligent design is concerned with certain patterns observed in nature. That has nothing to do with whether or not any explanation is inferior or more superior. The age of the Earth that doesn't matter. If we were going to say that the Earth was hundreds of millions of years old and agree with the evolutionists, that has nothing to do with can time, if you give natural selection and mutations time, can these mechanisms produce what's being claimed? That's a different question. The age of the Earth is an entirely different question from what is expected here.
No, because if it were a young Earth, it couldn't do that, right?
Well, of course, but that's
well, there we
besides
go.
the point.
Yeah, I mean the thing is it's just that evolution. It's constrained. No matter what, intelligent design can work. Well,
we would expect, of course, that's obvious. We've been here for yeah. recording history.
I mean, we can move on if you want. It sounds like I mean, you mentioned another thing. Well, go ahead.
Well, I think that it's important for us to stay on this topic because this is the same topic right here.
But do you understand my point, though? Because given the fact that the Earth is on the hypothesis of natural selection, the likeliness that the Earth would be the age that it is the likeliness that we would have that evidence or have that observation is equal to 1. But the likeliness on intelligent design would be equal to at best 1/2 because there's young Earth and then there's old Earth. And this isn't just the age of the Earth. I'm just using that as a generic example. There's a lot of other examples where there are things that need to be the case for evolution to be true, but that's not the case for intelligent design. And
I understand what you're saying, but I think I understand what you're saying, but I think that the point that you're making would be irrelevant to the complexity of both topics.
I disagree because this isn't the likelihoodism is a pretty standard. It itself is a pretty standard probabilistic way to differentiate between good hypotheses or good.
The age of the Earth or the universe has no power to lend to the creative power of the claimed mechanism of evolution.
Sure it does, because if it were young, then it wouldn't be the case that evolution can work.
Okay,
right?
but we don't. What the point is that if we give it millions and millions of years,
you're wrong on that statement. Then,
well, no, I'm not wrong. Here,
yes,
we got to go back. We have to go specifically to your claim.
But you just said that the age of the
just because it's convenient for evolution doesn't give evolution explanatory power.
No, it's that both sides are predicated on certain claims about the world, right? As it turns out, our observations are cohere more with one over the other. But I mean, intelligent design has become vague enough to where it could go either way.
No, it's not vague. I disagree with that. It's right to the point, and it's right to the points that I'm not trying to be rude, but it seems like you're avoiding. The point is directly right there. It's directly there, and that's where I would like for us to go right here, because regardless of how old the Earth is, here's the question.
Sure.
If we give it millions and millions of years, what evidence can you show that can justify the inserted mechanism of natural selection and mutation to produce new anatomical features and functions?
Okay, you're asking for evidence of abiogenesis, it sounds like. And this is a different topic, by the way. Now we're talking about specific...
Well, hold on. No. Well,
yes, we are.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because specifically,
I was talking about observations you and I both agree upon. Now we're talking about postulating evidence.
Okay, just stop for a second. We're not just talking about that, though, right? We're talking about evolution.
Yeah, there's several topics. I understand.
Both of them, you have the same problem with both abiogenesis and evolution. The diversification of all life here on Earth and the development of new anatomical features and functions, and at the same time, new metabolic pathways. In the early Earth, with the earliest established system of life, and it's the ability to replicate and so forth. So there's a diversity of problems, but the same question comes about: is can the mechanisms inserted, if you give it time, be proven? Do you have evidence to justify this predictive model?
do we have evidence? I mean, I said three different types that cohere with different specific evidence. I think that John von Neumann, and all the way back into '50s, has shown that you can have very, very simple replicating processes that are natural, that we can use as an analog to show probably what the first things of life are. But I'm not like an expert on abiogenesis. I frankly, I think that it's more likely when we what is it? Yeah, when we talk about known processes bringing about a phenomenon than unknown processes. I don't think that. I mean, you did say the fundamental concept of intelligent design, but there were a lot of different like terms being thrown about in your in what you call intelligent design. I was interested in what did you mean by intelligence, and is there any way we can actually? Well, hold on. I think I am asking you about your explanation when you're asking me about my explanation. So, did I answer it so far?
No, I'm sorry. I don't believe you have.
Why?
Well, because you're not explaining or justifying the new anatomical features and functions being developed that are necessary for life.
I
Um,
don't. I
if
mean,
you're if
yeah. Go ahead.
I mean, because that's what's really important here. I mean,
And
giving some sort of explanation for a known cause. Because you
well,
consider, go
what
ahead.
do you mean by giving it an explanation for a known cause? I don't.
Well, I mean, do you want me to get in specifics with, with the metabolic pathways that I talked about, or with things I've talked about before?
No, well, you're saying I'm not getting to the explanations of a known cause. I told you that I wasn't familiar with abiogenesis, but I know that referring to known processes as opposed to unknown processes, which I think intelligent design does, is a more lucrative way of going about the issue. I'm not necessarily saying that, therefore, we should, throw out anything like that. Go ahead, and that's a research enterprise intelligent design proponents can go for. But frankly, I don't think it's going to be lucrative. So far, everything that's been unknown, uh, usually the success of utterly mundane known processes has won out. And I think that that's going to be the case with this, frankly. I mean, I mentioned John von Neumann. We've already established that that it's possible for not even living things to replicate themselves in a manner that's consistent with evolutionary theory. Um, it's certainly possible, and it's I mean, there's a lot of competing different arguments for abiogenesis. I could be conservative and just say, well, I technically don't necessarily have to talk about the emergence of life. But since it's an intriguing topic, I'm interested in what you think of what I said so far. Hey, are you there? I don't know if you're unmuted right now. Are you talking? I can't hear you if you're talking, man. Now I can't hear you. Oh, if you're talking right now, I can't hear you. Sorry. Oh. You might want to refresh again if it won't kill the hangout. I mean, I suppose I can elaborate on why I continue to bring up the. All right, I won't talk while he's gone. I won't be lame. I'm
All right,
hearing.
can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little. Well, keep on talking and see what happens.
Yeah, so
You're a little
just
like fuzzy.
I don't know. I can't hear myself, so I don't know what's going on. Give me 1 second.
Okay, you're better now. There you go.
All right, can you hear me better?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, go on with what you were saying because I completely forgot about what we were going on about.
Yeah. Oh, what is it? I don't know. I, I felt like I was definitely trying to explain why evolution is supported with these with the observations we were talking about the whole time. I'm interested in. So far I've been giving stuff that I think justifies evolution, and then we switched to talking about how evolution can be used in terms
Yeah.
of abiogenesis. I think I'm interested to hear how intelligent design holds up. What's intelligent design?
I
Uh,
remember I remember what we were on. And I think, yeah, I mean, because this is really, really important right here. I mean, the predictability, the claim of evolution can it be met? Because until that claim can be met, I don't even understand why it's even being viewed as a scientific theory.
well, it's so far it's the. I mean, there's
I mean,
nothing.
even not
If
just
we're
like
if we're
we're talking about abiogenesis at the same time, right? So I mean, even abiogenesis, these theories, these ideas, it's not like they've only had a few years to try to figure this stuff out, and they need more time. They've had over 75 years, almost
well,
80
one of the
years or
things
so
though,
with their experimentation. So I think that here's something really, really, really important here. It's not like intelligent design is just arguing based off of ignorance or that we just don't know yet. Science doesn't
I'm
know
not making
yet.
that claim.
I know. I just want to point this out, though,
Okay,
that
but
science doesn't know yet. Therefore, intelligent design is inserting its argument. No, we already understand how these things are structuring. We already have an explanation for a cause. So I'm saying this, and this is what's really, really important here. Here's what the topic is about. Why is it then that I mean, if you can't give an explanation for a cause, why is it that we should put our explanation on the shelf for something that you still need time to justify? I mean,
well,
doesn't it make more sense to stand by what you know rather than alternatives that are being assumed?
I don't. You're saying still need time to justify, and you're referring to something called abiogenesis. Um,
Well,
it,
both
it,
evolution too. The claim of new
evolution,
mechanisms being
yeah,
developed.
but evolution has. I mean, frankly, it's since evolution has been a scientific enterprise for a long time. I can explain to you why I think that is, if you want, though. The reason why is because I think evolution is a better explanation of things. Evolution is the better explanatory model, and no other explanatory model beats it in terms of you know explaining things about the world. I think that evolution, for example, it's what is it? Evolution. It oh gosh, yeah, evolution. It's a simple because I mean it necessitates, which is what we've been arguing so far. It's much simpler than intelligent design. Evolution also it's testable. It also has past explanatory success. I mean, it, just look at recently Homo naledi in the caves in South Africa. Is a huge find for at least paleoanthropology, for example. Oh, what is it? It's informative. With evolution, we can there's like coherency amongst the concepts of the age of the Earth, homology, and with the simple to complex fossil record. Um, oh, what else? There's predictive novelty. What else? Yeah, it. I mean, it's been able to make predictions. It's had like explanatory power in order to kind of sustain itself. One of the issues I had with the kind of the discussion you and Max had last time is Max was focusing more on a pragmatic, um, like a pragmatic perk to evolution, if you will, that evolution is able to go out there and get more funding to do things. To some extent, that is a good quality of an explanation, but it's a little bit more. Evolution has been able to just sustain itself as a lucrative scientific enterprise, and these are the reasons why I think evolution is used so much. I mean, sure, there's going to be answers that we're not aware of, but evolution is it's a lucrative enterprise. Whereas, and if we talk about inference to the best explanation, and if we talk about comparing hypotheses, it's a lot better than intelligent design, because intelligent design it's so vague that it can work with any of those observations we have. And well, and this is the thing, we kept on going back to what's evolution have to say about this. What evolution's kind of been grilled enough. I'm interested, what of those qualities of a good scientific explanation, how are they met by intelligent design?
Well, I guess we can talk about intelligent design, but I'm not satisfied with the remarks or the responses that you've been giving thus far. I mean, whether it be lucrative or the majority of the scientists in the scientific community, they've all held to it, and it's been around for a long time. I mean,
That's
not the claim. You talked about how it was lucrative, and
I agree that that's not all that's needed. I said that that's a perk of it.
Well, even still, I mean, it's not. You're getting around the issue or the point, which is we got the claim. We've got the idea that if you give it time, that will help to justify the claim to where you can see these things happen. But where is the evidence to justify that claim? Because if I come in, if somebody can convince me of evolution, and I can look at the fossil record and interpret things according to those presuppositions that I have due to my views that I've inherited by agreeing with evolution, that is not going to make it science, and that's not going to make it in any way justified.
I don't understand what you mean by inherited presuppositions, though.
Well, I feel like specifically this is exactly what you're doing here.
I mean, I don't understand what you mean by that, though. You're saying
we'll make it simple like this. You go to a university, you get convinced that evolution is the case based on what people tell you. And then you look at the fossil record, after you've been convinced of certain things, and you interpret things according to those presuppositions that you have. You suppose these things are the case, and you're interpreting these things in a way that you can connect with evolution. That's not justifying evolution. The claim of natural selection and mutation, being able to build these new anatomical features and functions, isn't being met here. Can evolution have this creative power? What is the evidence suggesting that can happen?
If you don't mind, I feel like you're just saying that I'm just reaffirming already held beliefs that I have. The age of the Earth, homology, and the fossil record pattern are things that were established before evolution, and they are established independent of evolution. I don't. No.
The fossil record, even evolutionists would disagree with you on that. I mean, even the fossil record, they'd say, is incomplete as it is.
But that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that those are things.
It wouldn't matter. I understand what you're saying. Hold on. I understand what you're saying, but I mean, it's kind of getting frustrating.
Frankly, I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, but what you're saying is besides the point. What you're saying is besides the point. Giving it time and looking at the fossil record isn't going to justify that evolution was behind the changes in the fossil record. Remember what I said earlier.
That's not what I said, though. I said that these are things that were independent of evolution. It's not that they were affirmed only because the evolution paradigm is established in universities. They're ideas that were already held. And evolution is the reason why evolution is a good explanatory model.
Okay, but here's what I said. Again, here's what I said. How does this claim? hold on a second. Okay, I understand what you're saying here, but here's
Okay.
the problem. Why is it that somebody's going to therefore say that there's evidence behind these facts that evolution produced the fossil record? What is the fact and what is the evidence there? What is the known cause? That's the important point here. Not pointing out the age of the Earth or not pointing out the fossil record. It is evolution behind the fossil record that produced what we're seeing. And what evidence do you have to prove that that is the case, that evolution was behind it? That is what's important here.
I mean, I also presented a couple different pieces of evidence. Are you asking what's the mechanism of evolution? But you kind of said one of them
No, I think
already.
I'm being very, very clear here. And even what you gave earlier, you weren't elaborating or justifying it. You mentioned some guy's name, and that was pretty much the end all be
No,
all.
no, I mentioned Homo naledi, the find of Homo naledi as a predictive. That's an example of the predictive power. I think that I keep
What did
on.
I
We
say
keep
about
on.
what did I
We
say
keep
about the
on going
predictive power,
back
though?
to me justify me
Okay,
me defending evolution. You so far haven't presented anything for
okay,
intelligent
but that's
design.
because we can get into that too. But we haven't left this problem with what you're saying. I mean, the
Uh,
predictive power. What did I say earlier about the predictive power? How you can apply it with creation as well. But both of us being able to make the same prediction with the same line of information doesn't
but
lead to the
those aren't
conclusion that
predictions; those are
hold
observations.
on a second, please, because there's a lot of interrupting starting to happen.
Okay, but those are
The
observations, not
claim,
predictions.
okay, but the predictability that you just brought in here now is different than the claim
Are you?
having a cause that's behind these things. I mean, you're getting onto different topics here. You can predict these things, but I can predict the same thing with creation, expecting the same thing. But the cause being behind these things, creation or evolution, that's not something that you're dealing with right here. You keep on repeating the same assertions, but you're not justifying the claims behind those assertions. There's a claim and burden of proof behind your assertions that isn't being met here, and that's the problem.
What's that? I mean, I mean, you keep on trying to.
Now you
So
said
are
you
you?
gave you said you gave a line of evidence. You said you
You
gave
got.
a. I understand, but remember, because I want to keep this on target. You said you gave a line of evidence. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's where we're at right here. Then, what specifically are the details of that line of evidence that you presented?
Once I give that, can you start? I honestly, I wanted to talk about intelligent design. I didn't know this was going to be. I would have prepared for evidence that supports evolution, but I just know the vague examples, and I just know the examples related to my field. I don't know much about abiogenesis. I was hoping that you would actually elaborate on what's the evidence supporting intelligent design. Um, and I was hoping you would also explain to me how intelligent design is a better explanatory model than evolution.
I know you want to
Um,
get. I understand you want to keep the heat in my direction, but I don't
well,
feel
so far it's
satisfied.
all been on me, man. You got to, I
Well,
mean,
but here's the reason why. I mean, we can move on to the other topic as well.
we can
We
move
can move
on
on to
to,
the other
you got
topic.
to justify intelligent design.
Oh yeah, intelligent. That's not going to be very difficult at all. But
Well,
you're
you've
not.
been
You
avoiding
keep
it
on.
though.
No, I haven't. You have been avoiding what we're talking about here.
I
What?
thought what we were supposed
Hold
to
on a
talk
second.
about was
I'm gonna.
intelligent
I'm.
design.
Well, hold on, I'm gonna mute you. Okay, really quick, so that I can get this out. All right, because the interrupting is just happening too much here. Um, yes, we're supposed to be talking about intelligent design, evolution, and abiogenesis, as it was explained to you beforehand. That's not the problem here, and we can move on to intelligent design in a bit. But repeating the claim of time and repeating the claim that you have the fossil record and fossils in the fossil record, and as we've both pointed out that we have predictability there on each side, isn't going to justify in either direction that these predictions are proving creationism or intelligent design or evolution, because
I
we can both make the same. Hold on a second, please, because this is straight up what's happening here. You're moving on to different
I gave
topics.
an
Hold
example and
on,
you
hold on a
haven't
second.
addressed it.
Hold, you didn't give an example. You
Yes, I did.
asserted
Homo
somebody.
naledi in South Africa.
That was the prediction. You moved to a prediction again, and I pointed out why that was a
I was asking
problem.
for predictions.
No,
I
I'm
said that
asking you for evidence of the claim behind evolution. Can the mechanism of natural selection and mutation lead to the complexity of the anatomical features and function that you're seeing across the board? I'm not asking about predictability. We've both dealt with that. I can make the same predictions, but my predictions aren't going to prove creation, just like your predictions on the same type of information isn't going to prove evolution. The predictions is not the problem here. The problem is the claim of the mechanism producing new anatomical features and functions. I don't care about the age of the Earth. I don't care about the fossil record. I care about what you're seeing in the fossil record, those homologous structures and functions really did come from another through millions of years. That's the point here. So can the claim of time, natural selection, and mutation lead to these different complexities? What is the evidence provided? Saying you gave me a prediction, you're getting off topic. You're not dealing with your burden of proof and your claim. And if you, I mean, floor is yours. Say what you want to say.
Is it going to be you ranting at me, Ronnie? Come on. You're asking me a question and you're not giving me a chance to answer.
Don't BS me. Come on. The floor is yours, but you know what's going on here. If you can't justify your claim, then just be honest and humble yourself,
so far,
and I'll move to a different direction.
All been justified, Ronnie. I feel like you brought up a completely different topic other than which is a better explanatory model. You're now asking me to justify how you're now asking me to bridge between evolution through natural selection all the way to anatomical features being propagated.
Don't lie. Everybody here can hear what we're saying right here. It's going to be recorded. It's going to be recorded.
Yeah, it's going to be recorded. I'm not lying. This is what I'm hearing. What's the question?
You know what I said, and you're starting to get on my nerves now. If you can't meet your claim of your burden of proof, if you don't have the evidence available, then don't lie and say that you've been trying to get on the evidence or the argument the whole entire time. Hold on a second. No, just stop it. Stop it. What were we on just a little bit ago? When I talked to you about evolution, or when I was talking to you about meeting this claim, you brought in what? A fossil. That's what you brought in. So you acted like you already answered what I was talking about to begin with, and now you're shifting it, and you're acting like we were talking about something else. You're just being dishonest right here. And if you're not going to be honest in this discussion, then I don't know how we can continue this.
Ronnie, you just accused me of lying and being dishonest because we're disagreeing about stuff.
When we're talking about something specifically, and we're on target with something, when we're on something specifically, and I'm pointing out repeatedly that I don't care about time, the age of the Earth, and you keep on using that in predictability, and I keep on asking you about giving me evidence for the cause and the claim, and you're acting like I haven't been saying that. You're lying right to my face, and it's disrespectful. I want to point something out that my viewers,
if my viewers, hold on a second, call me those things. No, Ronnie, don't mute me. It's really childish, man. Ronnie. You want me to answer you, but...
Okay, we're going to make this as clear as we can possibly make this. You don't BS me any longer throughout the rest of this discussion, or I'm just going to kick you because I don't have time to be playing these games. You're hearing what I'm saying, and you're acting like you don't understand what I'm talking about, and you're trying to BS me in the middle of the discussion that we're both in. And you're thinking that you can insult my intelligence right to my face. If you don't have an answer to something, you be honest and tell me that you don't have an answer for something, and then we move on to something else. That's all you do. You knew when we were talking about predictability, when we were talking about the age of the Earth, you knew when we were talking about time. I gave you my answer. I wasn't concerned with time. I broke down why predictability was not the problem, and I asked you the evidence for the claim that you were making. You did not give me evidence for the claim that you were making, and you started backpedaling and shifting the burden of proof and moving around backwards in every single direction. So don't BS me. Be honest here. And if you don't have an answer for something, don't act like I'm too stupid to understand that you are BSing me and that you're not giving me answers when I'm trying to have a civilized discussion with you. Okay? I'll turn your volume back up and you can say whatever you want.
Is my volume's back up, Ronnie?
Yes, it is. Go ahead.
Okay, I never insulted your intelligence. You asked for evidence, or you wanted to ask for the mechanism of something when we were talking about what makes a good explanation. And then you And then when I tried to articulate what you were asking for, you're asking for how anatomical features can arise through natural selection. You thought I was lying and BSing you on that, and then you refused to let me explain myself and started muting me and then lowered my audio. Ronnie, if you're going to treat me this way when I don't feel like I deserve this type of treatment, I feel I don't even get this. I haven't been hostile at all. I haven't been calling you a liar or dishonest at all. I've been trying to ask this whole time, what are the virtues of intelligent design? And also before this, we didn't explicitly said we were going to talk about abiogenesis. I wanted to talk about which is a better explanatory model. But so far, you haven't presented anything for intelligent design, and now you're saying that I've been trying not to cover the issue with evolution. I could talk about the evidence that I see for evolution, but it's not going to be the evidence that you've been, especially in terms of abiogenesis. My background is in anthropology. My background is with that, so that's why I brought Homo naledi. You know, it could be a prediction of a model and also be evidence of a model. I don't understand how that's not the case. When I brought up Homo naledi, I could have elaborated on how that is evidence for a model, for the explanatory model of evolution. But the thing is, look, if I'm going to be muted, and if I'm going to be called a liar, and if I'm going to be called dishonest, and I'm not even going to be able to hear what intelligent design has to offer, what's the point of this?
You've already heard me talk about intelligent design, and it explains what intelligent design has to offer as well. So don't act like that's something that we're not going to get into. The problem is that when something's explained to you, when people are telling you what they're not interested in, the age of the Earth, and how explaining and why that's
I've already
not going to
moved on
prove
from
anything,
that.
why that's not going to prove evolution or what's being asked of you, and you continue in that direction, it's like you're ignoring what people are telling you, and you're being consistent on that path. And it almost shows, it's almost like an admission to where you can't meet your burden of proof, so you're going to be dishonest to the person who's in the discussion. It's disrespectful. That's what it is. It's disrespectful. When somebody's talking to you and they're being straight with you, and you act like you didn't hear what they just said to you,
why do you think I act like I didn't hear what you said? Ronnie, did you hear what I just said? Ronnie? Can you hear?
Yeah, I'm sorry. What's up, man?
Never mind. Okay, so you want to know why Homo naledi is evidence for evolution?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Homo naledi is evidence of evolution in that it talks about, it's a new find. One of the predictions of evolution is that when we go into South Africa, and if we look at these areas that show where early hominids lived, we would find more examples of early hominids. There's a very good Nova special about it that I suggest you check out that talks about how it was found. The fact that we're finding different and more ancestral, some people call it primitive, but ancestral I think is a better word, primitive specimens of hominids, showing that early Homo, the genus Homo, were small-brained, smaller, more ape-like creatures, shows that later on is when Homo really got its big brain and everything, and it also shows that it shows our relatedness to our primate cousins.
Right. Joe, what did I say about all this earlier? About what did I say at pretty much the beginning of our discussion? What did I say? I talked about, even if you were and I were to concede similarities, or from simplicity to complexity in the fossil record of seeing gradual changes, what would be the evidence that we could apply to that to justify those claims? So if the claim is that evolution was behind what we're seeing from simplicity to complexity, what is the evidence that the mechanism of a natural selection and mutation of evolution can produce these new anatomical features and functions? Looking at the fossil record and seeing similarities, interpreting those things according to your presuppositions isn't evidence for evolution.
Why not?
Why do you think it's not? What did I say about creation or intelligent design?
Yeah, but it wasn't something that is predicted by creation or intelligent design.
What would be the exact prediction that we would make? What did I say earlier at the beginning of
What
the
would have
discussion
been
with
the
creation?
prediction, and how has it found other things?
Joe, what did I say at the beginning about creationism and intelligent
That
design?
it will ad hocly fit with any finding that we have.
No. We would predict that we would see similarities. Why? What did I say at the beginning of this discussion?
But how has those predictions led to new finds like Homo naledi?
What did I say to you at the beginning of this discussion, Joe?
You already said what you said. You said that it would fit with any observations that we have.
No, I said that we would predict that we would find certain similarities inside of within our own technology, because we would expect that, we would predict that, because intelligence has produced those sort of things. So we would be able to compare bikes, skateboards, motorcycles, and so forth, and look at their similarities in structures and so forth. But the similarities themselves is not going to therefore prove the claim that the creation was behind these things.
Yeah, but the thing is, if that turned out not to be the case, okay, so you're saying that that's what intelligent design predicts. So if that's not the case, then intelligent design would be false.
I don't even think you understand what you're saying. I mean, this is kind of getting frustrating.
What's that mean? I'm asking you a very simple question. This isn't.
And I told you pretty straightforwardly. I mean, this is like,
it would be false.
Frustrating.
Okay, should I just assume that it would be false if that prediction?
No, the predictions don't prove anything. The problem is the demonstration of, hold on a second and stop interrupting me. The prediction
why don't you mute me and then insult me?
This is something that you're having a problem with. Giving us a known cause to produce an effect. If we can have the same prediction with creationism, intelligent design, it's going to be the same thing.
I wasn't even saying anything and you muted me.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was an accident.
Okay. All right. I don't know. I've been trying to ask for intelligent design. I remember earlier I listed a bunch of virtues of a good explanatory model. Would you mind telling me, like giving me examples that would fit with these good virtues of an explanatory model?
You're asking me about intelligent design?
Yeah.
Hold on, give me 1 second, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, man.
Yeah, so so there's like the reasons why I think evolution is, when you're comparing intelligent design to evolution, evolution's a better explanatory model. It appeals to known.
The problem is that you haven't explained anything. That's the problem.
I did explain something, but you said I need to explain.
You didn't explain anything. You gave me a storyline, and then you gave me what you would expect with your presuppositions of a storyline, and you pretty much repeated that throughout the discussion.
You keep on saying presuppositions, but I explained to you why they wouldn't be presuppositions. You're gonna interrupt me? Can I mute you when you interrupt me, or what?
Well, that's the problem here, and you're staying on the same problem as you've been saying throughout the discussion.
I've been trying.
We're obviously not going to go anywhere with this. I don't think.
Are you not going to tell me what?
I'm going to get. But that's what I'm saying.
You're not going to answer my question?
that's what I'm saying. We're going to move on to a different issue because I don't think you're going to be able to deal
Can
with
you
the
answer my
evolution issue.
question?
Yeah,
How about
if
that?
you, yeah, again, now I'm going to mute you because I just told you we're going to move on to that. But you got to be quiet enough for me to move on to that. So, like
Sure,
I said,
can you answer my
intelligence
question, please?
to
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
what is wrong with you? I'm trying to get to this.
Yeah,
Okay,
please.
hold on a second. Do you remember what I explained to you at the beginning? What intelligent design is?
Yeah.
It's an inductive reason. It's abductive reasoning, and how you basically presuming facts. Remember what I talked to you about that, right?
I know abductive reasonings from Pierce. Go ahead.
So I would say that the reason why intelligent design is a superior case is because intelligent design has a known cause, like we've been talking about from the beginning with ATP synthase. You see these hydrogen ion gradients, they go in through the complex, they spin in turn, cause those 10 to 50 different protein subunits to spin in turn. It's basically a turbine. The metabolical pathways, how that relates with maybe Pelton turbines with the
What's the cause?
the what did you say? What is the cause?
The turbines are the cause. Yeah. What you say? It's a known cause. I'm wondering.
No, I'm saying that intelligence is the cause that
Okay.
produces these specific effects. The
Just
effects, the
What's your
effects would
definition
be
of
the
intelligent?
effect. The effects would be the instruments that I'm pointing out. Do you understand that?
Okay, but I'm still stuck on the cause. What's intelligence is the cause of things? Like,
Do you
are you
understand?
saying intelligent agents are what causing something?
I'm telling you that intelligence consistently has been known to produce motors, turbines, and sequence information. That's what I'm telling you. The cause would be intelligence, and the end result of what they produce, the effects, would be these instruments that you're observing.
Hmm. At best, that would point to human intelligence, though, wouldn't it?
It would point to intelligence all the same. Yes, human intelligence.
So, well, what's that? Are you saying it doesn't sound like you're saying that this isn't what I've read of intelligent design, that humans are what I mean, humans aren't the people who are making these complex things in the DNA or in
Right, because intelligent design doesn't say that. We're pointing
yeah,
on
exactly.
we're focusing. Yeah, right. That's intelligent design doesn't say that. That's why you don't hear them say that. Intelligence is what they're saying is the best explanation for these patterns that you're observing.
But the only intelligence they're referring to is that of humans, but humans aren't. I mean, like you just said, human. I mean, this is one of the issues that I found.
Exactly.
Well,
Intelligence to humans. You know why? Because that is actually something that we have available that we can trace back to our root source. This is something that I'll just point out briefly that is lacking with the evolutionary side. You don't have anything you can trace back
I
to a
was
root
about
source,
to give
only
you.
presuppositions and speculations.
Well, I was about to give you an example. There is an analog that is a lot more consistent with evolution, and that's artificial selection, what farmers and stuff do. Um, so there's that analog, and I guess the analog that you're referring to is intelligent human agents creating things like motors and turbines and stuff. The issue is that I don't under. I mean,
No. Again, abductive reasoning,
yeah,
be careful with inductive reasoning.
yeah, they're two different things.
Inference of the best explanation.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about here.
Okay. So I don't. Yeah, you're referring to human intelligence at best. When we see what is it, intentional. I mean, yeah, this you. If the intelligent designer belonged to a familiar class of, uh, intelligent designers like us human agents, then there might be things we could predict or something based on our previous experience with such agents. I mean, we can predict things based on our experience with each other, but are you saying that, um, Yeah, like is the intelligent designer or designers, these agents, is how like humans are they? I don't.
I'm sorry. Can you elaborate on your criticism?
I mean, you're saying that they're not humans, but the only thing you can point to are human attributes. So that's not really helping. Does that make sense?
Well, were there humans before
Yes, I
human life?
understand humans didn't
Before human
exist.
life, were there human before human life was created?
No.
So what are we pointing
So
out that
how
is
is pointing to
necessary? What are we?
humans?
Hold on a second. What are we
Okay.
pointing out? What are we pointing out is necessary for life to begin that human beings seem to possess?
I Why is intelligent? I mean, human beings do possess it, but the only thing that we have in common with the intelligent designer is intelligence.
What we're pointing out is what is necessary based on what we've seen on our cause and effect to produce the effects of these mechanisms, motors, turbines, or sequence information, and what seems to be necessary and what seems to be behind those causes. We actually have available to trace to a root source that is inside of the minds of men, creative intelligence. So you can't say that it was humans before humans were built.
I'm not
You
saying
can't.
that it's humans, though.
I understand that.
Then
What
why are
we're
you bringing
saying,
that up?
what I'm pointing out, because you're obviously not understanding the obvious here. It's that attribute that human beings possess.
If you're if you're allowed to talk to me that way, can I? I mean, or are you just going to mute me if I also talk back? I don't. I mean, I feel like you are being very hostile to me.
Do you have a
And
response to that, or are you just trying to turn this into drama now?
wow. Okay. So what you said is like really, really not understanding the whole point. The only thing that the whole point is that intelligent design is just like staggeringly vague. The only thing you could say is that the intelligent designer himself has intelligence. Is there anything else we can know about the intelligent designer so we can make predictions? We have to know about this intelligent designer's beliefs and desires in order to figure out his intentions, in order to make more predictions, right?
No, we don't have to
Why
move
not?
this because we're going to start moving on to theology or
No, we're
philosophy.
not.
Yes, we are. We're not. We're not concerned with that. What are we concerned with? We're concerned with the natural, physical, uh, repeated observations in the natural world. That's
How do you
science.
make predictions with intelligent design then?
There's already been predictions made
Like what?
with David Wallace. I believe he suspected that there was going to be some mechanisms involved with the centriole, and his predictions were a little bit off. But the mechanisms, there were mechanisms, mechanistic type of mechanisms involved with that.
Me-
The same thing happened with, I believe,
and that wasn't made by
William
evolution or
Dembski.
something?
No, I don't believe so. If there's an article out there to where they made the same article, I'm not aware of it. You can bring it up to the table. But the point is that there have been predictions made.
What else though? You were mentioning William Dembski, but I would caution you, especially if you're going to use inference to the best explanation.
Well, then we won't.
Well, I'm sorry.
Well, we don't have to go there then. I gave
Yeah,
you a predictability, something that was predicted.
yeah.
There you go.
Okay, and you maintained that that prediction couldn't be made by evolution.
Oh no, I'm not making an assertion either way. You asked for prediction. I
Well,
gave
the
your
thing,
prediction. It could have been made somewhere else, but I've not heard of it being
you,
made anywhere else.
you've been very adamant that it doesn't matter the things that are that I am saying are predictions on evolution, or that yeah, that are predictions on evolution because they can also be made on intelligent design. So I just wanted to be clear if you understand that now I can just call you out on the same thing.
Yeah, there are reasons why I explained what I explained, but I'm right now only responding to what you asked me.
I see. So you don't feel that that's an inconsistency on your part?
An inconsistency on a question that you're asking me? No.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I'm not using predictability as evident. It's
It's
good.
not
It's
evident.
useful.
I've explained this several times. Predictability is a sign of a good explanatory model, which is what I've been trying to ask about intelligent design for a while. You mentioned one thing,
But then
so
the problem
we
is
can
that you
say,
can't say
okay,
that you can't say that explanatory model is more likely if other models can make the same type of prediction, or the prediction fits with other models as well. That's the
sure. So
problem.
you would know whether or not Wells' prediction actually. I mean, you said you didn't want to answer it, but now are you willing to answer whether or not it's not a prediction that's already been made in the scientific literature?
Again, are you just ignoring everything that I'm saying? I told you that I'm not aware of any other articles out there that have been published by
Okay.
anybody
No,
else
no, that's fine.
regarding it. But if you have one, I'd love to hear it.
No, I mean, yeah, I mean, it still is the case that there are just so many more predictions on evolution compared to intelligent design, unless you have more.
Yeah, I don't see the point with this.
You don't think that prediction? Okay, well, I mean, you also haven't really contested that. I feel
I
there are
understand
several.
predictability is important. It's very, very important, and it's
Yeah,
very good
sure.
in scientific theory, and it's needed in a scientific theory.
But you don't think it's
With
important to
intelligence,
present evidence of it?
but saying that I can make multiple predictions, and
Yeah.
in
Well,
evolution, when it can be applied again with other theories, making use of the same types of predictions, fitting with their own models, it's not going to make your idea any better than theirs, and it's not like we're talking about intelligent design here now. I don't see how you're discrediting that cause that's being questioned right here.
well, I mean, if we are just talking about intelligent design, it would be useful. It would go more towards intelligent design. It'd be in its favor if you did provide more predictions that have been actually demonstrated to be the case on intelligent design. The enterprise of intelligent design research, if it had a lot of predictions and you know, they've been vetted out in our observations of the world, that would be useful for your side, would it not?
It'd be useful, yeah. The more theories, the more predictions, the better. But again, if other theories can make the same type of predictions, um, you have difficulty figuring out. Okay, you have different ideas that are coming to different conclusions, but all of them are making use of the same predictions. I mean, it's very difficult to say then, okay, which one is the best explanation. And I think you figure out what is the best explanation is by focusing in on what known causes have actually produced the effects, and where can the claim be proven, the burden of proof, can it be proven or justified for any given theory or topic that you would put on the table.
Do you really feel that it has to go into theology if we start talking about beliefs or intentions of the designers?
When you start talking about its personality traits of the designer, I think that you do start getting do start dabbling into philosophical issues, or the theology behind the creator.
All right. So, would you say that? Well, this is kind of a. Never mind. This is a different thing. Later on, I could talk about Bayes' theorem. Are you familiar with the Bayesian argument against intelligent design? I can bring that up later if you want. But I'm still going through the different ways of showing an explanatory model, like the virtues of an explanatory model. And so far, I don't see the simplicity in intelligent design. And I don't see that it has really like a predictive novelty. Yeah. And I can go through more if you want.
All right. Based on what we've said so far in this discussion, can you give any reason why we should hold to evolution or abiogenesis over creation or intelligent design? Because I'm going to say with 100% confidence, I haven't heard a thing. I mean, I don't even see what your case is.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
hear you talking
Well,
about predictability and stuff, but
Yeah, evolution is it's a better explanatory model. Evolution, it's more simple than intelligent design. It it coheres. It has goodness of fit. It fits well with our background knowledge, which were the three things that we started out with. Oh, what else? It has predictive novelty. It can predict previous. It can predict things, and oh, what else? I think that it explains the data a lot better. I think that ultimately the vagueness of intelligent design, the fact that intelligent design won't go into more information about the beliefs or desires of these agents, means that when they can say, "Oh, look, this looks like human enterprise," but I don't. I mean, so it looks like a turbine, but there are so many things that look like pulleys, which is a human enterprise. It seems like you can just apply that to anything that we see in the world. Ultimately, there's no like what can intelligent design tell us about the world? I see evolution as being able to tell us so much more about the world, and intelligent design either I guess you're fine with it being simple, and it I don't know, it seems like any explanation it has is either ad hoc or utterly like vacuous, whereas
Okay,
evolution is
so before you get too long-winded, I'm going to respond to all that. Um,
you've been
you guys have
so
already.
rude, man.
No, I haven't been rude. I haven't been rude at all. I think that
You've
you've been
called me
very
a
disrespectful.
liar, dishonest, and now long-winded. You've been insulting me this whole time. That's very rude.
No, you've been
Why
interrupting.
don't
You've been
you
ignoring. You've been ignoring what I've been saying, and you've been acting like you couldn't understand what I've been saying.
I'm
And
sorry you
now
feel that
you
way.
went back. You've been back onto the same issue of
You asked me a
predictability.
question though, and I answered it.
Predictability. All right, the heck with this. I'm sorry. I'm not dealing with this, guys. Um, I'm gonna have to respond to what he said without him here. He wants to make this situation of a drama. I'm not going to deal with that. You guys heard him get back into this issue of predictability. You guys already know how I responded to that. He just keeps repeating himself, even though he's been corrected on that. And when it came to him actually trying to justify his claim, he seems to not be able to do that. Um, what he's talking about, well, he thinks that the case for evolution or for intelligent design is, worse off because uh, it tries to leave off the philosophical or theology behind it. Well, of course we're going to leave off the philosophical or the theology behind it because intelligent design is trying to make a scientific case. So trying to get on my case for not wanting to smuggle in theology, I think is disingenuous on his part. um, I don't know, guys. If you guys want to have discussions with me, I don't mind having discussions with you guys. But when you come into a discussion, make sure you're prepared. Don't BS me throughout the discussion and waste my time, because I'm not going to put up with it. I'm not being disrespectful because I point out that you're mishandling my approach on the discussion dishonestly. When somebody's explaining something to you, you act like you don't hear what they're saying to you, or putting words in people's mouths and attacking that. Um, that's not my problem that you're dishonest. Um, so, yep, that's it, guys. Um, take care.